Hello traders, Kozovini coming to you from theclosingprint.com, March 20th, 2022. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices and all of the leading stocks that we follow and trade, moving to highs to close the session on Friday. With 17 bullish indicators this week, 1 is neutral and 2 are bearish. We're looking for a follow-through, barring any outside catalysts or geopolitical events in Ukraine that might stall the indices. We have S&P 500 support at 4,400 and resistance at 4,500. Vol trigger, we're above that level at 4,375, as well as the zero gamma, which we're trying to push above this week at 4,468. Sectors improved markedly last week, especially with consumer discretionary, which is showing a vast improvement thanks to retail. We have a lot of stocks this week that look good for a follow-through. We also saw the international markets heat map improving, with China bullish going into this week. Bulkowski has a CPI signal at 93.4%. That's bullish with 3 bearish patterns, 42 bullish patterns, and 275 patterns waiting for breakout this week. Bottom line, we're looking for a follow-through barring any geopolitical events, with FOMC and OPEX now behind us. Starting off with the S&P 500, we closed above the descending trend line and the vol trigger, as well as the 9, 21-day, and 50-day. We need to get back above the 200-day and zero gamma, which is still at the same level at 4475. With the 100-day overhead, we're looking for all the moving averages to turn back up, cross back through the 200-day this week or in the following weeks, as this volume surge was pretty notable Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with the follow-through and a climax, if you will, towards the end of the week. The Nasdaq Weekly chart also gave us a nice bullish reversal with moving averages just overhead at 360 as resistance. RSI needs to get back above the 50 level on the weekly time frame, but for the most part, growth showed a very strong performance on Friday. We did see a follow-through above the 21-day moving average with a strong rally Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We also had a very strong performance in small caps, as 7 of 9 sectors were green on the week. As we push higher, we'd like to see those sectors continue to perform and for a move back into the top of this range. RSI should move above 50 if that's the case. At the same time, we saw the New York Stock Exchange rally 3 green elder sticks last week. You can see up volume in the lower panel for the past 4 trading days exceeded that of down volume, along with the S&P 500 equal weight index, removing the weight of those top 10 stocks, which did perform last week towards the end. We did get an early signal with the S&P equal weight index closing above the 50 and the 200-day before the S&P 500 did, with bullish signals in our indicators suggesting that we'll see a follow-through after we've put FOMC and OPEX behind us, setting up a nice move into April, one of the seasonally strongest months of the year. Going into Monday trading, we do have a very bullish signal on VIX. We're green. That's telling us to look for higher highs and higher lows as we start the week. In addition to what we saw on the bullish percent for the New York Stock Exchange, 2,700 stocks, we had higher highs, more stocks on a bullish point and figure buy signal when this indicator rises. And finally, we have the Wilshire 5000, a broad measure of market participation. We had a bullish engulfing candle on the weekly time frame. In addition, Copoc curve is starting to hook higher, as you can see. The bottom right, we're looking for improvement over the next few weeks, now that we know what the Fed is going to do and OPEX is behind us. April seasonality right around the corner. We also saw a market improvement in the heat map, updated every Friday, with most sectors improving markedly in addition to what we saw in the international indices, with China leading a reversal last week. And as we start the week of trading, we want to touch on IBB. That was pretty strong on Friday as well. Tech had a strong showing, as well as healthcare and consumer discretionary. We were lucky enough to get the retail stocks to rally, even though they had some less than stellar results. What was it, on Tuesday? While the sector did show a little bit of a slowdown in consumer spending, we're looking for a follow through in most of these sectors this week. So we'll watch for which sectors are the strongest on Monday while focusing our energy in the strongest sectors. IBD 50 stocks, for the most part, were green. We had about 14 that were off a little bit. Zim Integrated, one of those that are consolidating at the present time. While we did have some other shipping and container stocks starting to push higher, we'll cover those in a few minutes. Most of these stocks, especially from the semiconductor industry, moved higher. So we're watching for strength to persist in technology, consumer discretionary, industrials, materials, and healthcare. Biotechs also performed last week, while also focusing on those stocks that closed above their VWAP for the week, like Cleveland Cliffs closed at highs. So with those indications, we look for follow-through in stocks like AOSL from the semiconductor industry, ANET, with Broadcom showing bullish action last week and a nice follow-through back above the 50-day moving average. One of my favorite semiconductor stocks next to Nvidia and AMD. Looking for RSI to continue to lead the way as a function of price, of course. Volume was above average, and MACD and stochastics bullish for the week. The builders also saw strength. We're looking for builders first source, BLDR, to continue higher. We did see the fertilizer companies bouncing off of the 21-day moving average, so we're looking for a follow through there. In addition to some of the stocks from the maritime shipping, like Costamare, that looked like we could see a follow through this week. With strength in the container shipping industry group, we're also looking for stocks in the steel group to continue higher. Cleveland Cliffs had a nice follow through. Looking for a push to 52-week highs, along with other stocks in the group like US Steel, Steel Dynamics, and Nucor. Datadog also had a nice reversal off of a double bottom, looking for a follow through there. Off of this support level, volume picked up on Thursday and Friday. Volume picked up on the week. MACD is about to turn and cross, and stochastics is moving higher. RSI is pushing back above 50, so we should see a little follow through, run into some resistance, maybe overhead, and then back to 52-week highs if tech persists with its strength. Another transport stock, JBHT, JB Hunt, also followed through last week. Nice pop to 52-week highs. As additional stocks from the transports moved higher, ODFL, Old Dominion Freight, looking very good for a follow-through before getting back to 52-week highs. RSI is above 50. MACD is above its signal line. Volume is starting to pick up, and stochastics is rising. Most of these stocks from the IBD 50, like KNSL, Click, KLIC, MP Materials, MTDR, and Matson from the shipping and container industry group, looking for a follow through. Those all look strong for this week as well. With semiconductor stocks improving, we also saw some really bullish action on Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia pushing back above its 21-day and 50-day moving averages last week on volume, looking for a follow through. We had some really nice trades on Nvidia on Friday. As Bookmap showed, there's some really aggressive buyers coming into the market. We look for RSI to continue to push higher, running into some resistance levels right here at 269 and 285. over the next few weeks. We got volume picking up, that's institutions. MACD's crossed, and stochastics is now above 70, and stochastic is now above 80. Overall, if we see strength in semiconductors persist this week, we'll likely trade some of these names again. And maybe some strength in IBB as biotechs broke out. We saw Moderna pushing back above the 50-day, looking pretty strong, with volume picking up above average. MACD's above its signal line, and stochastics is rising. We did see strength in pharmaceuticals as well. We're looking for a follow-through in stocks like Pfizer, and potentially a move back up to 61 over the next several weeks. So we're sticking with this swing. Looks pretty strong. The 9 EMA crossed up through the 50-day on Thursday. We got the 21-day probably crosses through this week. RSI pointing the way with volume increasing, showing that institutions have been picking up shares down here, accumulating a position with MACD above its signal line. Tesla also put in a strong performance last week, a bullish reversal from Tuesday into Friday's close. Tesla looks like it's going to break above the 50-day this week. With momentum alone, RSI is rising above 50. Once we get above this volume by price band along this area, we should see a push back up to the 1200 level over the next several weeks, maybe the next couple of months. We have RSI, stochastics, and MACD all pointing to bullish, and volume shows that institutions were picking up shares. We also had strength in the fertilizer group. Again, persistent bullish trend in Mosaic, CF, Nutrien, NTR, LXU. All of them following through. CF was on the IBD 50 again this week. Looking for a follow through here. While some of you may have re-entered LXU, I did not. We had a nice entry reversal candle on Tuesday. Basically a hammer. Looking for a follow through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got it. We broke out. Unfortunately, I missed this particular leg up. I'll look for either a follow through and a push higher as these fertilizer companies continue to show strength, or a little dip or a flag for a potential re-entry this week. Alpha and Omega Semiconductors showed up on several different scans. We're looking for a follow-through in semiconductors this week as well. If they show up as the strongest sector on Monday or Tuesday, we have a half dozen names that look really good and primed to follow through, in addition to AOSL. Would also like to see Cleveland Cliffs, US Steel, Nucor, and Steel Dynamics following through this week, along with other stocks from the steel industry group, with Cleveland Cliffs showing a potential rally that might last this week as well. RSI is rising. Volume shows institutions have been picking up shares. MACD is above its signal line, and stochastics is above 80. With Steel Dynamics breaking out last week, I wouldn't chase this one, but it has been very strong. It's a confirmation signal, if you will, for the other steel stocks that we might trade this week, along with Nucor and US Steel. As the materials sector continues to show strength, we're looking for a follow-through in those and industrials, all of which broke back above the 50 and 200-day moving averages last week. In addition, we're watching stocks like Fastenal, with 1,793 construction supply stores offering construction-related products, with the industry group following through and showing relative strength last week. We'll look for a follow-through as the stock pushes above its 50, 200-day, with the moving averages all crossing bullish last week. Volume shows institutions have been picking up shares from the upper 40s through the current level at 58. So do they only want 10 points, or do they want more? I would suggest that they probably want these 52-week highs in the short term. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, March 20th, 2022. We are looking for continuation this week, so keep an eye on the sectors that are the strongest. We'll look for continuation and highlight the sectors that are giving us the highest probability setups to start Monday and Tuesday trading. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 o'clock midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast. So be sure to check your inbox for that. Otherwise, take care, have a great weekend, and enjoy your day.